Yeah. Do we want to pull up that Jamboard to kind of walk through it for that low hanging fruit we want to start working towards?
For 1 second, I'll pull that up.
Yeah. So review sector tactics. Is that what you're pulling up right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, the strategy prioritization, so we can see what we rank them at earlier in the year. I put the link there so if people want to go on themselves, but I'll share my screen.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So I think we did agree that strategy 1 is where we were starting with it being some low hanging fruit. And that kind of our goal we thought was looking at ways that we could work with other sectors to kind of really be able to knock this off and kick it off and get it going. Do we want to walk through the different thoughts we had with this, Missy?
Yeah, that's fine. So just a quick reminder, when we had first started meeting way back last fall, we had gone through the national strategies and ranked them based on implementation, challenge, possible, quick wins, and potential kibosh. And we had initially pretty much ranked them in order, I think, correct? Maybe 4 and 5 were flipped. No, pretty much in order. And so as we move into this next phase with our strategies and tactics, we're moving into that implementation phase. And so looking for opportunities to really focus on strategies 1 and or 2 to get things rolling before the end of the year. Strategy 2 is helping businesses to engage in cross-sectorial partnerships to promote physical activity within the workplace and such efforts, extending to local communities and geographic regions. And then strategy 1 is the the businesses providing employees opportunities and incentives to adopt and maintain a physical active lifestyle. So one of the things we discussed with it being September was the quick wins for now through the end of the year. And we'll dive a little more into our reasonings here later on in the meeting, but we're going to really focus on the strategy 1 and 2 for the coming months, and kind of leave 3, 4, and 5 until we've got a little more momentum behind us on ways to implement those strategies in the greater Kansas City region, and instead just focus on 1 and 2 right now. So with that, I lost my other screen. There we go. So with that, once again, really looking for low hanging fruit for opportunities where we might be able to support ongoing efforts that are already in process, whether with other sectorial groups within the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan or existing efforts within the community that really support those strategy 1 and 2 strategies and like prioritization topics. So with all that said, the next thing that we did want to kind of step back on is reviewing our sector strategies and tactics. Our final document we had some changes that we did implement throughout in the language of the strategies and tactics. I know Natalie highlighted those specific changes, and we were just going to look over those really quickly to make sure that it made sense, it sounds okay, and we don't need any additional changes. Correct, Natalie? We still needed to do that?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So let's go ahead and jump there. Lacey did just message me that she is out of office today.
One second, let me get those pulled up.
Okay.
And I think that was the first thing you sent in the chat. Is that right, Natalie?
Yeah,
For
the
others
first
that may
thing.
want to open
Uh-huh.
it. Okay.
Oh. And Natalie was kind to us and highlighted the changes that we made for easy, kind of an easy overview here. So in strategy 1, we added the phrase dependents to families just to be more inclusive and more encompassing. And then within that, on tactic 5, we added and include measures of fitness components that are relevant to the job types of the workers, just to help tactic 5 with a little more clarification as to what we were targeting. And as we go through this, if there are any thoughts, definitely jump in. Otherwise, are you all comfortable with me just breezing through them here? Okay. Strategy 2, I don't know that we had. Natalie, did you want
It
to?
didn't look like there was like a lot of changes from the
Okay.
national plan on those.
I was going to say, I think a lot of it was more like language encompassing from like United States to.
I had one question on that first one. So none of our other strategies currently have like example objectives. So I wanted to know if we wanted to stick with that formatting, or if we found it valuable to include like this one about it's like a SMART goal, like by 2025 adopt.
I think that's kind of helpful.
You
Some
think-
sort of direction.
Okay.
I'm on
Anyone
the
else?
other end. I'm okay admitting
Right.
it and like putting it more on our like agenda objectives. But
I'm okay either way. So if we want to admit it and do that instead, I'm good with that. Does anyone else have any feedback?
I think either way is fine.
Natalie, do the other sectors have example objectives from time to time?
They don't, so that's why I wanted to ask. It's something
Okay.
that's kind of new. So a lot of the strategy or sectors created them before this 2022 revision of the plan.
Mm,
So they probably didn't have these example objectives in there.
okay. I mean, I think that we could keep that more like internal,
I
at
mean,
least
we'll
like
always
in the
have it
forefront.
as a
Yeah.
reference on the national plan website.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It'll also help us with formatting with our
I was gonna
website
say,
our
for
cards if we don't
consensus-
include it.
For consensus, it might be
If-
best.
Okay.
Tanya, are you good with that?
Yeah.
Everybody else
Yeah, I'm good with that.
good
Yeah.
with that? Okay.
Okay.
Anything else on strategy 1 or tactic 5 you wanted to dive into, Natalie?
I don't think so.
Okay, strategy 2 and 3, I don't think we had any changes. Strategy 4, I think okay.
Yeah,
We reworded tactic 5, correct? Because it was
Yeah.
a little confusing.
I think we omitted part of it too because it was
Okay.
wordy.
Not applicable.
Yeah.
So promote employer-sponsored physical activity programs in healthy environments, while protecting individual employees' and dependents' rights. How do we feel about that?
I'm good with it.
Same.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Strategy 5, on tactic 6.
Oh.
Advocate for KC regional
Mm.
I can't say that word.
Longitudinal.
Longitudinal
Longitudinal.
longitudinal study and implementation of workplace physical activity programming, engagement, and outcomes. I think the big thing we changed on this was changing it to KC regional focus,
Yeah.
correct?
Rather than national, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think this looks great. I really like where our team landed on how this all came together.
Okay. Well, that one edit will help us out. And then we can work with the website team to hopefully get those up here in the near future.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
So we're kind of shifting gears back to that next steps phase, that implementation discussion. With this, one of the things like Tanya and I mentioned was that low hanging fruit and looking for opportunities to partner with existing sectors, programs, or existing initiatives happening in the Kansas City region. So I'm going to turn it over to Natalie, and she's just going to talk about some examples of other sectors' works that have been in the past or are in the process of being developed or ongoing, just to give some examples of what some of these other sectors within the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan are doing within the greater Kansas City region. So with that, I am going to hand it over to you, Natalie.
Yeah, that's fine. First of all, each of these sectors, before they did that, they wrote an implementation project that they present to the core work group to score them. And you will score higher if it's cross-sectoral work on the project. So if you work with another sector on the project, so you're more likely to be approved for funding. So I wrote down a few that I remembered being sectors working together on a project. The first being our parks and recreation sector and our sports sector. They worked with Corporate Challenge last year to start a youth sports equipment donation program that aligned with the Family Fun Zone at the walk kickoff event out at Arrowhead. That project was identified from the sports sector. We did a youth survey with over 1,600 youth throughout the metro area, and it was identified as a need. Also with the focus groups that we went to different schools and youth sport providers, a lot of them had equipment shortages. So this project was developed to meet some of those needs. And then the school sector and the park sector, they developed a pilot program to start a swim program with the KCK school district. So they started with a pilot program that was just a couple schools. Luckily, it got a lot of traction within the district, so they were able to expand it, I think, to 5 schools. The goal, it went really well. So the future, the district's working on a policy to make it where I think it's every 2nd or 3rd grade class will have a swimming component of their physical education now. Our media and communication sector, they, based on an identified need of the whole entire physical activity plan, it was to kind of promote the plan and its objectives and strategies. So they created a media campaign with a marketing firm. They developed a whole plan. I think we presented on it quite a bit to some of our other sectors, even in this meeting. So the Move Together KC plan was a result of that effort, and they took input from all the sectors in the creation of that media campaign. We as a sector, we can utilize them too in the future if we think of a project that we'd like to work with them on. Right now we have them, I think, contracted through the end of the year, that media firm still, so they can help with some content creation for us as a sector. And then another one I put here was the healthcare sector. They started a Walk with the Doc program, and that program has been a bit of trial and error. We started with some sports sector crossover. So they went to Harris Park, and we're trying to get walks with parents there while their kids were participating during the sport programming. During that time, they could take a walk with a doc, and they talk on a health topic during the first few minutes, and then the group goes on a walk. Limited success at that site, so they've moved some. Now they're doing one with employees here at Children's Mercy. So similar things, but it's more focused actually on healthcare workers with that program. They're currently in talks with another group with youth and parents too, so they might try a different site too in the coming year.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing. So those are some examples of existing or previous sector work that's been going on in the greater Kansas City region. As we move into our implementation phase, as Natalie said, as we come up with ideas, we will put together a proposal, which then Tanya and I will present to the other sector leads for approval. With these projects, we do have 17,000 in sector funds per year to put toward our programming and efforts that we're providing to the greater Kansas City region. And one of the things that, like Natalie said, anytime we can incorporate or support cross-sectorial work will only provide more resources at our disposal for success of a program or success of a project. And anything, Tanya, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's great. Yeah. So obviously we could always do things on our own, but I think with starting out and with the low hanging fruit we have, there is some opportunity potentially to not only hit one cross-sectional, but maybe a couple that could really benefit us, and then in return also benefit those sectors as well. So I think it's always a good goal to have in mind if we can do cross-sectional, obviously, not to avoid things we can't, but yeah, I think it's a great thing to keep in mind.
So with that in mind, one of the things that we were initially brainstorming with, this being almost fourth quarter, quarter 4 of the year, were some project ideas that potentially joining with an already ongoing sectoral program in a way that we could potentially support or grow a project in a different way to support our strategies and tactics. And one of those that we kind of threw around was the sport equipment donation program with the Parks and Rec sector and the sports sector, and where they had partnered with Kansas City Corporate Challenge to potentially expand on that program or provide additional resources to that program. And there are a couple different ways we could do that. Tanya, do you want to go through some of the different approaches that we talked about?
Yeah. So in partnering with Corporate Challenge, we could potentially, and the other sectors, because I believe this was previously done. So keeping along with them, donate equipment that's brought in to those that participate in KC Corporate Challenge events to youth leagues, kind of like they did last year at the walk, the kickoff walk. Another thought was if maybe there was an equipment donation sponsorship level. So Corporate Challenge, if you're not familiar, has several different sponsorship levels that organizations can participate in. And so a thought was maybe there could be an addition and it would be a sponsorship level equipment-based donation. Another way to kind of, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Another way to kind of tie this in with businesses would be to help encourage employees at their specific locations and work with the sports sector to try to connect with the youth sports. This could also, so that would be school sectors could also potentially be another sector we could cross work with as well, opening it up even a little bit more. But trying to find ways also that we work with corporations around here, since we are obviously business and industry. So finding ways to tie it in as well that way.
One other thing that we had talked about was even providing the opportunity for those that participate in Corporate Challenge that purchase equipment for that year, if they'd like to donate it at the end of that event or the end of the season, coordinating with Corporate Challenge and those other sectors, first to identify the needs, and then depending on what those needs are, facilitating that partnership.
And then I think some of the donations we spoke to as well, on the smaller end, could hopefully help businesses. For instance, obviously it's hard to do like a basketball court or anything, but maybe like soccer goals or something that we could then donate to local businesses to help allow their associates to get out and move during working hours.
Mm-hmm. And then one of the other existing programs that isn't happening within another sector, so it wouldn't be a cross-sectorial partnership, but it is happening in other cities, correct, Natalie? And is happening on the national physical activity plan, is something kind of like a CEO challenge. It's identifying and reaching out to key leadership within businesses, and helping them to develop or grow some sort of a statement around and policy around physical activity for their employees that key leadership then signs onto to support within their organizations. And this could maybe have leadership, include HR or facilities and policy creation and adaptation. We could do this regionally and partner with someone like the chamber or an existing organization, or we could take the path to create our own pledge for the region that leadership could then sign on for. We could also ask Healthy KC to institute or help support a healthy CEO pledge of some kind that, and it could even be a little broader than just physical activity to include that whole healthy lifestyle behaviors that Healthy KC promotes. Or we could talk further with Corporate Challenge on a potential partnership for embedding a pledge in registration, or within those companies that are already participating in that opportunity for their employees. So these are just a couple examples of how we could start off with supporting our strategy 1 and or 2, and some, just low hanging fruit brainstorming. What are your thoughts on these discussion points and these project ideas?
I will say, I don't know if anyone on this call has completed the Healthy KC Workplace Wellness certification, but I think that would be a great place to add a CEO pledge. And I think it would also benefit and add to the Workplace Wellness certification if they were open to doing so. So I think that's a great first starting point. I think it's like, 108 question certification that goes through like 5 to 7 different workplace wellness pillars, but it's good.
That does seem like an obvious place for that kind of question, right? Like, I don't know why that's not in there already. Like, that just seems like it should be there.
And I don't know if let's hypothetically say that was a place we'd put it. I don't know if maybe we would create some kind of CEO pledge toolkit for businesses to use. That way it's written out for them, and there's really no like, oh, I don't have the time or the team, or I don't know what to put in it. We could just create that toolkit, and maybe they would do, Healthy KC would be willing to release it at the end of completing that certification.
And it could be a good opportunity for cross-sectorial work with the marketing sector and that Move Together KC. with Grace having transitioned out of her role, do we know yet who is moving into that position?
I have a point of contact, but I don't know if they know if the position will or won't be filled yet. I'm not sure if they,
Okay.
I'm not sure. But yeah, I can get us a point of contact.
Okay. That'd be great. I really like the idea of the CEO challenge. I think there's a lot of potential with it. And I agree that the Healthy KC could be a great starting point to launch that initiative, or at least partner with that initiative, depending which route we end up taking. For more on that, Natalie, would you be able to drop, oh, you already did. drop the website to the national CEO pledge in the comment section if you want to take a look at that. Oh, and I see your contacts as well. Thank you, Tanya. Perfect. Does anyone have any other ideas for potential implementation projects as we move in through 2024 and into 2025? Any recommendations or opportunities for partnership that you see in the community to support the business and industry?
In terms of donations, I wonder if there's a way we could partner with races to get donation bins and promoted, for races at the end where maybe they could bring balls of sorts that they're not currently utilizing. I don't know if we want to, I don't know if I know races shoes is a thing, donating shoes, but maybe instead of that, it's like, hey, looking for gently used or new equipment, and obviously letting them know where the donations are going to, and promoting that could be of value.
One of the other things we also brainstormed was the Walk with a Doc program. Having that be an opportunity within business and industries around Kansas City. It's something that, which Natalie, I know you can speak to a little more, Children's Mercy offers and promotes not only that it exists happening on their campus, but to their internal employees and team members as well. So that might also be an opportunity for places like Corporate Woods or, where there's kind of some multiple businesses, potentially promoting a Walk with a Doc opportunity in partnership with the healthcare sector.
There's like program costs, that program, I think it's like $650 to like become a new site. So it's relatively low cost for starting a new program.
Oh yeah. So is that with each location? Is that fee
I think
with
so.
Walk with a Doc?
We'd have to ask Shelly to be for sure. She's more involved with the contract stuff, but
okay. I wondered how that worked. I didn't know if the doctor just volunteered their time.
I think it's more like you have like a portal access and you've got marketing resources. They send you t-shirts and water bottles.
Is this
you're on their website?
Is this a national program that, okay. That makes sense. I didn't realize that. Yeah, so that could also be another opportunity at our disposal. If the healthcare sector and if we're interested in it, but also if the healthcare sector is open to finding some corporate or business and industry like clusters for the Walk with the Doc opportunity. I really think places like Corporate Woods would be, a great point, or I'm trying to think some other places.
But like town center.
Yeah.
Mhm. From
Yeah.
experience, we've tried it in a lot of places, and if
Okay.
people don't want a walking program, like they're not really gonna just start showing up because you start offering it. So I
Mhm.
wonder,
Mhm.
like, there might be the potential with like Corporate Woods or some of those places, if they work it into where they get wellness points, or like there's some perk of
Mhm.
joining the walking group, it
Yeah.
might be more successful.
Yeah.
Somewhere that like Blue Cross Blue Shield that gives their employees wellness benefits to doing walking programs. Could be, yeah, that would be really good to get in with a company that does that, or a couple companies in like a little cluster
Mhm.
And
that
I
can
wonder
pull in.
if you could combine it, like, does it have to be 60 minutes of walking? Could we do like, maybe it's like a 20-minute body weight workout followed by, or the walk followed by a 20-minute body weight workout followed by like a 20-minute yoga flow to get your total of 60 minutes. So throwing that physical activity in there as well, tying it back to a portal if they've got a portal for points.
Or is
And we'll
the
start with that.
walk with the doc pretty outlined with it being a national program?
It is, but I don't know how strictly, like, I don't think
Okay.
they're like making you stay accountable to having the 15-minute presentation with the doctor and the walk, but
Okay.
it
Okay.
might, I don't
Mhm.
see why we couldn't make it any activity, but
Anything
again,
different.
we probably need to confirm with Shelley, who's got more
Yeah. Yeah.
knowledge of the program.
That might be staying on theme, low hanging fruit for us.
And if you did it after work, potentially might be even better, and you could get families involved for that physical activity part of it.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd come back to the office though for it.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how close they live.
Yeah. Or where it's at. I guess if it's a little more out closer to where folks live, if it's near downtown, most probably won't come back.
Yeah. Corporate Woods, I guess, is what I was thinking with all the houses
Yeah.
around there, but they may
Yeah.
not live that close to where they work.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
I like it. Could be something too that could make sense with schools also. Like and get like the teachers and the kids all out walking.
It'd be cool if a doctor could adopt it to
For kiddos.
kid-based. Yeah. I mean, but really getting them engaged.
We might have some doctors at our disposal. Some of those pediatricians. Yeah, I think these are some great brainstorming ideas. Definitely moving into that implementation project sessions. So in the coming months, that's something that we will continue working on. We'll target the brainstorming topics that we talked about today. And then hopefully in the next month, we'll have some concrete things that once we hear back from the other sectors on what they're interested in and what's available to partner, hopefully we have next steps for at least one of these projects to move into that implementation stage, or at least supporting the existing project in a new way that targets our business in an industry sector a little more. With this, Natalie, do you want to go into those reminders?
Sure. The Kansas City Healthy Lifestyles Collaborative is hosting our September quarterly meeting on the 26th of this month. It'll be at Kaufman. It's 2 hours in the morning. We'll serve breakfast. It's 9 to 11. The theme for this month's meeting is our Kansas City Reach project. We're just starting year 2 of that project. So part of the project is to engage the community and inform them and recruit more partners in the community. And there are 3 arms of it, which are physical activity, nutrition, and family healthy weight programming. will be presenting on what their work plan is for this coming year. And then the community partners that are involved in that work will also be at the meeting to talk about what each of their objectives and performance measures are in the project.
And that can be virtually
Yes.
attended as well, correct?
We send out the link the day before, so if you do register virtually, don't be alarmed that you don't get it. Since we order food, we want to make sure people show up that say they're going to be in person, so we don't send out the link until the day before.
Smart.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then
our Move Together KC campaign, I think I've shared it with you guys before, but on our website, there's really nice templates that you can use, also like a whole branding kit that you can download and put in Canva. So it's got the fonts. You can also adapt it where you can add your own logos and colors right into that kit. There's images and then some B-roll if you want to use that too. We just ask that you tag Move Together KC when you use those materials, or really in any posting where you're promoting physical activity. If you would tag us, then we also share that. For our partner spotlights, if you look on our Instagram, like we'll feature different individuals or businesses, and that shows ways they move or why it's important to them. You can do it through the website, but you can also do it by reaching out to us. Mostly it's just like you share your company logo or a picture, and then a couple sentences about how you guys promote physical activity or why you guys think it's important, or maybe promote an event that you have coming up, and then we will schedule it to go out in the monthly calendar.
perfect. Thank you. And then Tanya, you want to wrap us up on next meeting? And
Yeah, so our next meeting is Monday, October 2nd at 3 p.m. And coming soon, I don't know that's necessarily next meeting, but we are going to have a National Physical Activity Plan guest, which we're super excited about. So hopefully sooner than later here, but yeah, hang in there, as she will be, I think it's she, right, Natalie? Am I
It's
correct in
actually
that?
the 14th of October, and she has confirmed that she will be coming.
She will be coming. Okay. Did I read that wrong? 14th? My bad. Yes. So we will have a guest, and excited to see what she says.
We actually might have a second guest too.
Okay.
Someone from the city of KC-Mo, they prepared a lot of data on their employees and their wellness programs, and they've done some evaluation of those programs. So they're looking for people to share what they've collected. Janine, I can't think of her last name right now, but I haven't confirmed, but she might come and introduce herself. I'm also going to join her to become part of our sector if she would like. And yeah, so I think she'll try to attend next meeting too. So I might have her just do the first 10 minutes of the meeting or something, and then we'll have the national plan representative talk to us about what they have going on and some of their national objectives and strategies.
wonderful. That's great to hear. Okay. Any final thoughts or comments as we move into this next phase, the exciting phase, the fun phase? I'm excited for this.
Would you like me to go ahead and reach out to Healthy KC and start discussing potentially adding it? I mean, it would be a whole year, in all honesty, because we just submitted them.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't actually be something that would happen this year, but
Yeah, I feel like I helped review those questions last year, and I was trying to remember what point in the year we did that. Like like they might just tell us to hold off until they start that committee
again
meeting
next
again.
year.
Yeah. Yeah, we can hold off, and especially if it's a whole year until Grace that position transitions, because I have a feeling they'll probably have us hold off until that kind of settles.
Yeah.
And that person can get their footing. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. If you have or spot opportunities for implementation potential projects between now and, in between any meeting that we have, or somebody that would be a great contributor and to the business and industry sector team, please reach out to Tanya or myself or Natalie and provide that information, and we will put it into the agenda and reach out to those individuals as well to talk with them further about what we're doing.
When you're thinking about, I'm just trying to think of some of the like things other sectors have struggled with. The implementation projects that are just like one-time events don't tend to score as high. So something that's going to be more sustainable will score higher on those applications.
Good to know.
Mhm.
Perfect. Well, thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us today. We will see you in October.
Bye.
Okay,
See ya.
bye. Thanks, everybody.